of black horror. The depiction of African traditional religions is one of major contention. It's a widespread issue that borders on cultural appropriation. Usually, what we end up getting are half-assed depictions of what producers think are African traditions. We got a range of depictions that were both positive and some even further on the negative. And although Sugar Hill does border on the more Hollywood-esque voodoo depictions, it's miles better than what we saw in The House on Skull Mountain. So in this video, we're going to be revisiting the Hollywood voodoo trope in Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill is a blaxploitation horror film that came out in theaters in 1974. It's directed by Paul Maslansky, who would later produce the Police Academy series. And the film was also produced by the blaxploitation giant at the time, American International Pictures. The film follows the story of Diana Sugar Hill, played by Marquis Bay, after the murder of her boyfriend Langston, played by Larry D. Johnson. In order to get revenge on the mob boss Morgan, played by Robert Query, and his group of gangsters, she visits the voodoo queen Mama Matrice, played by Zara Cooley, to help enact her revenge. Using the power of Baron Samedi, played by Don Pedro Coley, Sugar summons the power of the dead to slowly kill the men who murdered her boyfriend, one by one. Thematically, the story hits on several key issues regarding black culture. It presented unique characters, and although the production was considered low quality, it gave black people empowered roles. Overall, the film deals with the supernatural as a theme like most horror movies, but this supernatural aspect isn't something you'd see in The Exorcist or Rosemary's Baby, whereas these films deal with the supernatural and religion from a purely Christian perspective. This film brings the supernatural into the African house like many other films like Lord Shango and Scream Blackula Scream. Now, when we talked about The House on Skull Mountain in our previous video, we mentioned the infamous Hollywood voodoo trope, and we used it to describe when films commit the crime of introducing the idea of African spiritualism with little to no explanation of the cultural significance it plays to the actual people. Usually, the black characters are relegated to side characters and become victims of their own culture. The House on Skull Mountain exudes all of this on the negative and more stereotypical aspects of the trope. But when it comes to Sugar Hill, there's a bit more respect that you don't see in many films with this trope. Sugar Hill has one of the few most respectful presentations in the black horror genre of African spiritualism. For example, the big difference is that the force of voodoo is used for good as opposed to evil. Revenge is a big theme in the film, but this film is one of the first in which a black character uses supernatural means to accomplish their goals. And overall, this harkens back to the idea of supernatural justice that was so prevalent in African and African American culture. Before the advent of Christianity to black culture, using supernatural forces was an everyday occurrence in the African community. You used the supernatural if you wanted to find love, if you needed to heal the sick, or even enact revenge on an enemy. This also came with Africans as they came to the New World in America. The use of doctors, root workers, and priests and priestesses was something that we not only relied on due to not having our own resources, but we also believed in the power of such supernatural rites. So right off the bat, thematically, this film already is taking notes from African culture. Why does this matter? Again, when we look at the Hollywood voodoo trope, we have to talk about proper depictions of culture. These are needed on screen in order to produce accurate representations of cultures around the world. Unfortunately, we still live in a world where most people's conceptions of people outside of their normal sphere of life comes from the silver screen. In order to be artistically responsible, we owe it to the cultures that we use as creative inspiration to create accurate depictions of said cultures in entertainment as a whole, because by doing this, we acknowledge the power of entertainment. And when films use black culture, or any culture for that matter, without exploration or explanation, then it allows for the prevalence of prejudices, stereotypes, and misconceptions. And although Sugar Hill is not the best depiction of voodoo and still leans closer to the Hollywood aspect than actual tradition, it's miles better than films like Serpent and the Rainbow and The House on Skull Mountain, where black people are just background characters in stories painted with their own culture. With that being said, thank you for watching this video, but before you go, leave us a comment. What black horror film has your favorite depictions of African religions? And also, do you think a Sugar Hill remake is on the horizon? If you like this video, leave us a thumbs up and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Peace.